Okay, I'm David Willoughby, and I'm calling this meeting at the Richland Township Trustee's Office, and the time is 3 p.m., and this is a special meeting for discussing the fire territory. And those attending the meeting is myself, David Willoughby, and board members John Journal, Jay Trasher, and we also have the office manager, Samantha Proctor, and we have the Ellisville Fire Chief, Kevin Pack. So this special meeting was called to discuss the pros and cons of forming a fire territory and possibly a vote on it. So,
All right.
turn it over to Kevin.
Well, I'll try not to make this boring, which is kind of hard to do. What I've got here is a draft that Baker Tilly put together. Like I said, it's a draft. I honestly don't think any of the numbers will change unless you guys have something you want to make a tweak to for the town council. And then, let's see, we'll go over that in a minute. This is just kind of nice to know stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure what all to bring because everybody has different questions. So we'll start with the last paper I turned out or give you. The only thing that is all of the 911 calls in the county, and Bloomington City has 5 fire stations. The Monroe Fire District currently has 8. They'll add a 9th one in 27, being Dean Blossom Steinsville Fire Department, and the Ellisville Fire Department has 2. And the one thing this is how many calls that particular station responds to a year. And they're in numerical order. So just to give you an idea how busy our 2 stations are, you can see we're number 2 and number 3 in the county, and that includes the Bloomington City Fire Department as well as the Monroe Fire District. So it's really nothing more than just show you, we are busy. The community, Ellisville and Richland Township is both growing very rapidly.
Which is the other one?
Station 71 is the one here on West State Road 46. Station 81 is the one currently at 900 North Prairie Park.
Okay.
I'll run through them real quick. The Bloomington City Engine 1 is the one that's downtown in Bloomington City. Engine 3 is the one that's on campus. Truck 1, it really doesn't pertain because it responds to aerial high buildings, things like that. So it goes anytime Engine 1 does. 29, that's the fire station at the airport. 22 is the old Perry Clear Creek Fire Station down on Kennedy Drive, the south side of Bloomington. Engine 2 is the one on Franklin on West 3rd Street. The ladder 4 is the one on East 3rd Street across from, I think it's St. Charles Catholic Church. What's that? Hillside. High Street, High and 3rd, right there. Yeah. Engine 5 is on Miller Drive. It's behind Bloomington High School South. Engine 25, that's the one on Wisnan Road and 037, up towards the Dolan area. 24 is in Unionville. 21 is at Lake Monroe. That's, I'm drawing a blank. It's right there across from the golf course. I'm drawing a blank on what road that's. 39 is in the old Indian Creek, so it's down off of Rockport Road. 26 is the new Monroe Fire District station up by just north of Sample Road. I think everybody here will remember the old Bloomington Baghdad tire place. It's right there. Engine 23, that's the old Indian Creek station. and I've not been to it. So 39's down by the old Harrington Saw place. I told you wrong. And then 23 is the one down in Indian Creek. Sorry, I had those reversed. And then, of course, Bean Blossom Engine 61, that's the one in downtown Sciennesville. So, like I said, that's just kind of information. So, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we can kind of run through this draft here. Do you guys know the difference between a territory and a district? Really what that encompasses? I can go over it.
Basically, the territory, the county can't take it over, and the district they can.
Correct.
Kind of how I summed it up.
That's the nutshell. But as far as control, a territory is kind of a formal MOU, memorandum of understanding, between two entities. In this case, it would be Richland Township and Ellisville. And the board that makes up that control traditionally is the township trustee, the town council president, and a third party at large that the two agree on. Sometimes the trustee or the town council president doesn't want to be on it, so they'll appoint somebody else. Obviously, it has to be 3 members. Some territories will do 5. Sometimes they'll do 7 members. That's kind of the choice of the territory, how many they want. The other main thing is, that being the main one, is it's controlled locally. People of Ellisville, Richland Township control that board. A district, the county commissioners elect the board, they're choosing. And in this case, if Ellisville was Richland Township was to get absorbed into the district, there are no members currently that are on that board, so they would have to appoint one. So you'd have 1 vote out of 9. The other thing is the county commissioners ultimately control that 100%. So if somebody doesn't like something, you have to go see the county commissioners, and they'll decide what they want to do with it. So myself, the big selling point is it's controlled locally rather than somebody in a county courthouse controlling the fire department. Let's see here.
I got a question.
Sure.
You may have threw it out, or maybe I misunderstood it, but in the fire district, excuse me. Well, we'll take an example. Okay, I think you told me Steinsville, Bean Blossom got taken into the fire district.
That's correct.
Okay, so kind of bring them up to standards. It's going to raise a lot of taxes. They're going to pay a lot more. But do all the other members of the fire district, do they have to help pay for that?
Yep.
Well,
I'll give you, for instance, I live in Van Buren Township on the west side of the airport. So I am in the Monroe Fire District. I sent my tax statement to Baker Tilly, which is who did all the paperwork for the merger, if you want to call it, between Bean Blossom, Steinsville, and the fire district. My taxes for 27 are going up just under $600 next year because of the fire district. Now, I'll make a statement right now. There is nothing wrong with the Monroe Fire District. They're good firemen. They do a good job, but it's just, what do you want to pay for it? So their budget that the district put together for the Bean Blossom Steinsville was just under $1 million a year. Well, if you can see, last year they made 140 calls. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody's worth, saving, but it comes down to a business part. How much do people want to spend? Most people that move out into the country, it's because they don't want to pay to have a fire truck there in 3 minutes, or an ambulance there in 3 minutes, or a police officer patrolling the area all night long. You just kind of got to figure out, how much do you want to pay for what level of protection? Kind of like your car insurance, it's really no different. Those 140 calls are very important, but obviously there's not enough revenue, assessed value in Bean Blossom Township to absorb that $1 million, so they have to spread it across everywhere. Well, with that, anytime they build a new fire station, they buy a new truck, whatever, that expense is going to be divided up amongst everybody. They can cross county lines as well. Nobody's told me they have any intentions of doing that, but the way the state's kind of been working on these bills is they're leaning towards doing away with township government eventually. Now, they've been talking about that for years, so who knows if it'll ever happen. But they're looking at this because it would ensure, in their mind, ensure fire protection if everybody was in a municipal fire department, like the town or Plymouth City, or a district or a territory. It's guaranteed fire protection that you're paying for. A lot of the township trustees, the township governments, they don't bring in enough money to have a fire department, so they contract with somebody else that may or may not respond. So they're looking for guaranteed help is what they're looking for. I get that. They're working on the same thing with ambulances, because in Indiana, the sheriff's department is responsible for law enforcement. The trustee is responsible for fire protection unless the municipality is there. But there's absolutely nobody in Indiana that's responsible to have an ambulance to come get you should you need one. Nothing. Nobody has to respond if you call 911, nothing. So by default, most of the fire departments respond in various levels. Some of them only go on what they call life-threatening calls. Others don't go on anything. We go on everything for several reasons. One, we're close. There's a limited amount of ambulances. Sometimes there are no ambulances available. So your next ambulance is going to come from Brown County or Lawrence County or something like that. So we go on anything. We went on an elderly lady a while ago, got out of her car, slipped and fell in the driveway. Well, she wasn't hurt very bad, but it's 11 degrees outside. So that becomes a critical run, obviously. So that's why we respond to all of them.
Let me ask you one
Sure.
other question.
Mhm.
Okay, and I suppose Steinfeld would be a good one.
Mhm.
Okay. Let's just say they need a new fire truck.
Mhm.
They need something big.
Mhm.
Okay, so, and the other parts of the fire district gonna help out.
Mhm.
But is it split up, the number of fire stations in the district? I mean, how is it? Is it a proportion of money? Is it an equal proportion of money from
Yes.
each township that goes
Yes.
over there to help them?
The Monroe Fire District keeps the same tax rate, whether you're in Bean Blossom Township, Indian Creek, Benton, wherever. It's the same exact tax rate. So proportionally, everybody would pay the same amount.
Same amount. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And I would assume that, if there was a new truck needed, they would probably put the new truck where the biggest need for it is, and then maybe put a good truck, but a lesser truck in Bean Blossom or Indian Creek just because of the runway.
Yeah.
It's priorities.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of.
Let me throw one more out before
Sure.
we go too far. I'm full of questions there.
That's why I'm here.
Let's see. How is it? Okay. Excuse me. We're funded right now. We pay for Ellisville pays their share.
Mhm.
We pay our share.
Mhm.
So if we go into this fire district, does that change? Or is it going to stay the same?
The current proposal would be everybody pays the same
Okay.
because we're
The territory.
correct, the territory.
Yeah.
Yes, because when we looked at this territory last, and it's changed a little bit, but Richland Township was paying roughly 14 cents for fire protection. Ellisville was paying 21. With the assessed values and all that changing, the latest number, I think you guys are still just under 14 cents. I think it's like 11.9. and we're down to, I think it was 18. So it's come just because of the assessed values.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes, the reason why that's the proposal I put in there is because Richland Township, I'm trying to think how to say this so it doesn't sound bad. Ellisville residents are paying more for the same protection than what the residents of Richland Township are. So we're just trying to, I've got them as low as I can, and I'll go over what I increased our budget. But basically everybody pays the same, so we're all equal. Because we do not make any difference between a call in Ellisville or Richland Township. It is treated 100% the same. No difference.
Okay. Would there be any change if this reorganization goes through?
I don't see there is one. What I've done here, and I'll go over the amounts with you. The only thing I have put in our budget from what you guys are currently helping with and what the town does, we used to have 2 firemen at the station on Curry Pike that was there from the Monroe Fire District. Because what we do, as well as the fire district, we don't worry about whose jurisdiction it is. Whoever is closer goes to help the people. That's just the way we've done it. For instance, on Arlington Road, once you get to Arlington Vet, everything east of there is Bloomington Township. Well, we can get there in about 4 minutes. For the Monroe Fire District to get there, you're looking at 12 to 15 minutes. That's quite a long time. Is that our problem? No, but we felt like we ought to go. By the same token, because of the location where the airport fire station is, they can get a lot in that southwest corner anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes quicker than us. So they take those calls. Up until 2026, so in 25, they had 2 people they took care of, they paid, they were housed in our station, so it was 2 Ellisville, 2 district. And the calls were almost 1 for 1. We'd help them on a call, they'd help us. I mean, it's just, that station is in such a prime location for calls. Well, because of Senate Bill 1, they pulled those firefighters out of the station on Curry Pike. Because they said they were short a little over $800,000. So they pulled those firemen out. We knew that day would come. So we have not stopped helping each other. It's just they don't have anybody there. So with that, the only thing I put in this budget is to put those 6 firemen back into play. So we used to have 4 people at the station here on 46 and 4 people on Curry Pike. Now I'm running 3 and 3. This would basically go back to 4 and 4, which is the National Fire Protection Standard. That's the absolute minimum. They actually want 4 people on every apparatus. Well, that's not possible. Bloomington City doesn't even do that, for instance. It costs too much. The next thing is OSHA, which we are required to follow, minimum of 4. I don't have it. I just can't afford it. So the only thing I've done is put those 6 firemen back in here, and that's the one thing that's changed the budget. So back to your question about if we consolidate, will it change? The only thing I looked at possibly doing, if we do the consolidation that would be on this, is 1 person to help with training. That's it. So you're talking 130,000 divided up amongst a assessed value of, I think it's $1,700,000. So I'm not even set on that. That's really no big deal. I mean, just they would also be a fireman, so they respond to calls, but it's just not going to be somebody that sits in a classroom and teaches all day. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So in essence, if the territory goes through and this budget goes through, then I can leave it alone. I don't have to touch it for a consolidation for the fire department. It can stay the same.
Okay, so if if we vote to form this,
Mhm.
is that indefinitely?
No, that's bad for me, but it's good for you. No, it's an MOU, so you guys could drop out of it. Next trustee doesn't want it or whatever. It's kind of like a contract. It's just a formal entity that does this rather than the way we're doing it now.
Okay,
If you get in a district, you have to have, it was 51% of the district to allow you to get out of it. So it only takes 51% of the, in this case it was Bean Blossom, it only would have taken 51% for them to vote, yes, we want in it, and then they're in it. But to get out of it, 51% of the whole thing has to say, I want out of it. Doesn't sound fair, though. So,
But
what?
they really didn't have to say in it,
Well,
from what I understand.
no. They sent out the law. There's two ways to get in a district. The law says they have to do the mailers to get the majority either for it or against it. They did not have near enough for the yes, but they had several no's. So the no's won out. Well, that obviously is not what somebody in government wanted. So the next way is the county commissioners just vote on it, and two of the three members say you're in the district, and it's done. So they had a say.
That's what I
that-
thought happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it is. And
so on the, I guess what I was at, you said on the fire territory,
Mhm.
okay, let's say we vote for it in,
Uh-huh.
and I wanted to know if that was forever or whatever, but then you said something about maybe the next trustee, but does the trustee have that much power? I mean, I guess what I'm saying, is we
let
as a
me-
board can either vote no or vote yes
how's this?
for it.
I'm not sure. I was always told it was the trustee could get out of it, not renew it. But I can't answer for sure. You might have to check with Eric, but it may be that two of the three board members would vote it out. I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure.
And the only reason I'm asking that, it's the board will say,
Your board's
it's
putting
going
it
to
in.
decide one way or the other.
And I would assume you are correct that it would take the board to remove it. I just don't know the answer to that. I'll be honest.
I'm just curious.
The only thing the state is basically wanting you to do a municipal, a district, or territory. So the only thing this territory is doing is stopping the district from coming in. So if you do it now, and let's say you want to keep it for 5 years, and then in 5 years you do away with it, the county commissioners can come in and take it then. So, but the state looks at it as long as this organization is in play, the fire protection is there and satisfying the need so they don't mess with it. Obviously, if the consolidation goes through, this newly formed territory, if you guys vote on it, would just be absorbed right into the consolidation and it doesn't exist anymore. But if the consolidation fails, the territory's still there.
And just like
Mhm.
you're able to, because it's a new entity, so
Mhm.
to speak, you're able to adjust the budget and tax rate every time the fire district takes a new area in. They are allowed to do the same thing.
That is
correct?
correct. And there is no limit on the fire district. There is no cap for the fire district. So they can make it 80 cents, $1.50, whatever. Now, I can't imagine them doing that.
Right.
There would be a lynching, but yeah, there is currently no cap. I know one of the meetings they talked about going to 40 cents with a 4 cents additional that the county commissioners will impose, and that 4 cents is for, we'll say ambulances. Because currently there is no contract with IU Health in Monroe County. They have contracts in Lawrence County and Brown County and Morgan County. That's why sometimes there's not an ambulance around here, because they have a contract and have to go there. There's not a contract here. They do try to keep them around here, but it's pretty thin. The county commissioners bought 4 ambulances for the Monroe Fire District 3 years ago out of the ARPA funds that President President Biden had after COVID. So they took that money and bought 4 ambulance.
So what is the fire district's current rate? Is it 26 cents? Is that what?
Let's see here. Give this to you. I pulled this directly off the gateway and I double checked the numbers. So I was asked when the fire district was conceived, which was back in '88, to the right's what those tax rates were at the time, and then you can see they fluctuated through the years as they picked up more assessed value and so forth. So currently they're just over 26 cents, but the presentation that Baker Tilly put together, which adding Bean Blossom, their tax rate for 27 will be 35.88. So just 36 cents for a tax rate for the district starting in 27. Now I'm sure that can change, by 1/10 of a cent or whatever, depending on appreciation, assessed values, and all of that. The commissioners have also, at their meeting they had, I think it was November meeting they had, they did say their intent is to pick up Polk and Salt Creek in April of this year. And Polk and Salt Creek, as you know, Bloomington City Fire used to cover that through a contract. They don't do that anymore. They contract with the fire district. I don't have any idea how much that is, but Salt Creek and Polk has no fire stations, no apparatus, nothing. So that stuff's going to have to be purchased. I'm sure they're going to look at putting a fire station somewhere over in that area because right now to get Lampkins Ridge Road, anything like that, you've got to come out of Unionville or you've got to come out of Kennedy Drive or the lake. So that's a pretty long haul. They haven't said they're going to build a station, but as a fire chief, I'd say I got to have something over there. I mean, it doesn't have to be elaborate, but.
So if they were to, if we voted no on this, they would have to do the same thing here.
And they cannot cover Richland Township with one station.
Because
you can look at these
right,
run numbers.
Because the fire station and the equipment belongs to Ellisville.
And the township, because Ellisville kind of sits in there cattywampers, so the township, in a sense, is partially split. Obviously, you can drive a fire truck through the town, but my point is to get to the northeast corner or the southwest corner to have one station, unless you're going to put it downtown Ellisville, right. It takes 2 stations. Otherwise, your response times are going to increase considerably.
They're going to have to increase to put.
I don't see any way. I mean, Salt Creek and Polk, my guess is I don't see how it could go down from 36 cents. They may hold it the same because I don't know how much surplus revenue he has, operating balance. I'm not sure what it is. So I don't know anything on that. Richland Township, I don't see any way possible they can pick Richland Township up and not increase the tax rate considerably. Like I said, just looking at the numbers, and these are right off the county's 911 center. They're not anything I made up. That's just logging into the system and printing them off. So I don't see any way possible they could absorb that with one station.
So when looking at this, they've already taken Bean Blossom, and they're going to take Salt Creek and Polk.
Yep.
And they want us.
They plan to take us.
Yeah.
In April is what they said.
That's what, yeah.
Which is why we're talking about this today.
So, like I said, I just throw some stuff out here because I don't know, I find this stuff interesting because it helps me understand it more. What this is, I took the 26 budgets and for Ellisville, Richland Township, Monroe Fire District, and City Fire, and the number of stations they had. So their total budget divided by the number of stations. Does that make sense? So in other words, what does it cost on average to staff and outfit a fire station? And you can see the numbers through there. We're under Monroe Fire District. Now keep in mind, up until January 1 of 26, I had 4 people at both stations. Now I've got 3. The district has, I think there's 3 stations with 4 people at the stations, and the others are either 2 or 3 at their stations. So the goal is to get somebody to help until the other people can get there, you know. Emergency responses in 25, how many they made. Average calls a station. This kind of gives you an eye back to the first paper. And then I just divided the budget by the number of calls, and it comes up with a dollar amount per call. So I'm proud to say I think we get every penny we can out of what you guys and the town affords the fire department. The next thing, obviously, I did not have the city of Bloomington's, but because of the district taking Bean Blossom Township, they had to put a proposed budget together. So the 27 is just a proposed, and the number I used for Ellisville was the one that I'm presenting as a proposed territory budget for us. So I think we're still getting the most bang for the buck. I've got a copy of their budget. I can't tell you where they spend the money without looking at it, but we try to do everything we can in-house, save the dollar if we can. But some things we just, we're firemen. Sometimes we put headlights in, change tires and things like that, but we don't rebuild diesel engines. So, sometimes you just got to find somebody else.
Hire a phone to do that.
We had one, and he left. He's now running the warranty shop for, there's like 3 or 4 truck manufacturers, a place up in Whitestown, and they hired him to go up and run it. So
wow.
I'm kind of proud that he left here and went there. I hate it, but he does sneak in and help us once in a while when we got a stumper. He's a good one. So obviously there's a lot of information. Like I said, the only thing I've done here is I added the 6 firemen in, and then I told you that was the only thing it wasn't. I lied to you. I had to add some to the physicals, because the firemen, we have to do physicals each year for them, and I added some for uniforms. But it's the same fuel.
It's the same.
Yeah, it was just in the 100 lines.
You have to add that in.
Correct.
Add people. It's not something.
Correct.
So.
Everything else, truck repairs, radios, fuel, that kind of stuff, I just left the same. The only downside to this budget, I know you guys are looking at the downside, it's going to cost more. The downside to the budget is when you form a territory, I start out with 0 money. So, like today, if I have an engine or transmission go out of the truck, and I don't have that in my budget because we can't hardly budget for that, I can go to the town council and say, hey, you've got cash balance in your general fund. I need $15,000 to fix this. They do an additional appropriation. Or I come down and see Marty and he talks to you guys and do the same thing. With a territory, I don't have the cash balance. So first year is going to be really tight. Normally what they do when you have a territory, the first thing you do is you raise the tax rate really high. Not extremely high, but you bump it up to 30 cents, 34 cents, whatever. I'm just throwing that number out. And then year 2, now that you've got a cash balance, then you drop it back down. And then the third year, you drop it back down, and then you're locked in. I've kept ours with that only increase, and that's basically the way we go. Because in my mind, I think it's more important to get the territory established, because I think the cost would be significantly more if we don't. That's just my opinion. So I'm happy to answer any other questions. I can give you best guesses of the stuff that I don't know for a fact.
So what happens to the cash balance that we currently have, like in the CUME fund?
The CUME fund, that would stay, and my understanding from talking to Darla and Eric, that would still could be used.
Yeah.
Yes, for fire. So yes, both your CUME fund and ours until it disappears, and then that tax rate would disappear in your general fund budget, and it would just move over to the territory.
Okay.
And
But
we're
you
just,
could still use it.
yes, until it's gone, and then
Okay.
hopefully by then, like I said, hopefully I don't want to use any of it.
Yeah.
But yes,
But if
So you
something
are correct.
happens.
that's correct.
Okay. That was my only.
Well, that's a good question. Not a question that the three of us would
I knew it, but I totally forgot. And Jay's looking, and I'll find it in here because I have it written down. Let's see. Basically, what would this budget do to the people of Richland Township? If you go to, it's like the third, that one with the district. Yeah, that's the. So yeah, they're looking an estimated increase of 10.7% for Richland Township. So if you go back 2 more pages, Paige from Baker Tilly did what she anticipated based on the calculations: $150,000, $293,500, which is the median household average residential home value in Richland Township, and then a $350,000 home. For Richland Township, you can see $150,000 home. It costs $105 a year. For I'm just going to use $300,000 home. It's looking at $254 or $21 a month, and then $350,000 home, $313. Ellisville, we've already got a higher tax rate, so you can see for Ellisville, the $150,000 would go up $80. The others are zeros. Why are they zeros? Because they've already hit their tax caps. And then I believe it's the next page. Yes. The main one, with everybody hitting their tax caps, the main increase is going to be to the commercial businesses in town and Richland Township. So you can see $500,000 commercial property in Richland Township, they're going to pay an extra $856 a year. So obviously, I don't know everybody's financial, but I'm kind of thinking, you know, that's not too bad.
And
I
this
mean, for a
is-
$500,000 business,
And
but-
this is still, the 10.7%
it's still,
is gonna be way less than what if we get it taken by the fire district.
correct. This budget, if it was adopted, we are under the tax rate that a district is currently by just a smidge. I mean, literally just a smidge. But when they pick up Bean Blossom in 27, we're going to be considerably under.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know what's going to happen with Salt Creek and Polk.
Yeah, if they take those, then, I mean, they're,
So yes, there's an increase. I don't know how with the, and I don't know we do all the grants that we can. The aerial fire truck, we got the west side tip to pay for it completely. Which mainly was the west side businesses, so they are passing money back through to us. I honestly, it's not like I can say, okay, we're just not going to provide services on Thursdays and Sundays, to reduce the overhead. I can't do that. So I don't know where I would cut anything out because it's basically personnel, and I'm just getting this where the minimum staffing is supposed to be according to requirements. So there's no fluff in there.
So what happens if this doesn't happen and you can't meet those requirements? What is after this?
Nothing unless somebody gets hurt, honestly. It's like you can run 60 down the highway until somebody pulls up behind you with pretty lights.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's truly if somebody gets hurt, and obviously we don't want that.
No.
And
No,
having
I don't
sure.
want you guys running.
No, I know. And having 4 people at each station does not guarantee that you're not going to get somebody hurt.
Right.
It's just you're dividing the workload up because to go to a typical fire, just a 1,500 square foot house, the NFPA wants us to have 18 to 20 people on the scene in under 10 minutes. Well, I can't do that. They have a volunteer standard and they have a career department standard. I don't meet the volunteer standard because of the number of people within the time frame. I get it about 3 minutes later, if that makes sense, because there's not a fire department in the county that can take care of all the calls by themselves. They just can't, and that includes Bloomington City. When they have a structure fire in Bloomington, they get 4 engine companies, so there's 12 firemen, and they get an aerial truck, which is 4 more. They get a rescue truck with 2 and a battalion chief, and that just divides the workload. But because of the closeness of Bloomington City, they get there pretty quick. So obviously, the quicker you can get there, the quicker before it gets bigger. Well, because of where we're at, even in downtown Ellisville, my truck is going to take about 6 to 7 minutes, weather depending, to get from Curry Pike over here. Then my next help is coming from the airport and one in Dolan. For house fires, they do come automatically to provide that extra manpower. And same token, if it's on Arlington Road, we go help them because we're going to get there quicker. And then, so nobody can do it by themselves. Basically, we're taking care of, I'm going to say 90% of the calls with this.
Let me ask you another question.
Mm-hmm.
And it just popped in my mind. Okay, we got a proposed fire station to replace number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So will that still happen? Where's the money going to come from?
Well,
How will we do that?
Here's the way I understand it. When I talked to Marty about that maybe a month ago, when all of this started, the consolidation, and I said, let's just put a hold on that because I think it's the right thing to do. One, we do have if we choose to go forward with it, we still have the ground secured that was signed for Rogers, so that's fine because the ground's the hard part to find anymore. If a territory is formed, then I would assume that the territory board would get a bond for a station, but then instead of just Richland Township, it's Richland and Ellisville, everybody. And I'll be honest with you, the initial cost, I think were too high. I'm really thinking like, don't hold me to this because, I'm just guessing here, but I'm really thinking $3 million would be plenty because I'm just looking at a building to hold 4 people and a couple fire trucks. It doesn't need to be, like a headquarters kind of thing. But to answer your question, I would assume that the territory, that would be spread out, and that's gonna be a 20-year bond probably. So I
So-
do not have the numbers of what something like that would cost over 20 years. But
So the monies that the township currently gets for fire,
Mhm.
would that still get funneled through the township to the territory, or because it's a territory, it gets its own funds from
It
the
gets its
state?
own funds.
That's why,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
And I guess I got another question. I'm guessing it's blowing smoke, but okay, we got this new subdivision out here on the
Mhm.
west side.
Mhm.
He said in the beginning he'd like to have a little plaza, a little shopping center,
Mhm.
and a fire station.
Mhm.
It was in the paper the other night. And he said, and we're going to have a fire station.
Mhm.
And he's blowing smoke on that.
No, he donated. It was like 4.5 acres, about where the old barn sat,
Okay.
to the town. And then what we're looking to do there, from the way I've been told, because I'm kind of down on the food chain, my understanding they're looking to using TIF money for that. That would come when that, not the housing addition, but west, the business starts developing. So I honestly, I don't see a station out there at the soonest 5 years, probably closer to 10. It all depends on who it is that decides they want to come out there. I know they have several places that are, or several businesses that are looking at the ground out there off the Flatwoods for projects. And I know there's a lot looking at the ground across the street for Darby's project for the tech park. I'm not in that group, so I'm not sure what they are, how big, but that's basically what they're looking to fund that, not the taxpayers.
Okay. Because I was curious about that because I thought, for what it costs,
Mhm.
if taxpayers have to pay for that. This station right over here can get there pretty doggone quick.
Correct.
And, I I went over Marty with all the statistics and everything like that. Where we want to put it, Vernal Pike and Hart Street is a logical place to put it.
Mhm.
And so that, of course, that was brought up about the time that they were even considering the one to the south, west.
Right.
And I just thought that was ridiculous that they want to put a fire station there when this one could be so close.
It is right now. It is, I won't say it's ridiculous, but it's not needed right now. But when you put 450 homes out there and the apartments and the commercial structure and then the proposed industrial out at 46 and Flatwoods and down through there, then it will have a need, very much so. Because going back to the run volume that we're doing already, there's only so much I can throw on 4 guys. But for now, no, I don't. That's why I said I think we're a ways off. Now, if I'll just, if Print Pack or Cook Incorporated or Key, something like that, decided they're going to put in $1 million square foot and we're going to have 400 employees, and you're going to start bringing money into the TIF, and you have a need out there. There's a lot of these, in talking with some of the fire departments up north around those areas, a lot of those big Amazon, like Amazon warehouses, things like that, a lot of those companies will come in and take care of the infrastructure, fire station, because they need it there. So they will, they might not cover the staff, but they'll take care of putting the trucks in or taking care of the fire station. The Curry Pike Station, in essence, that's what was done.
Yeah.
Because the West Side Cooks, Sabin, Wetterall, Westinghouse, GE, all of those paid for the fire station over there, and the trucks and the firemen for 5 years. There was no tax money that went into that project. And then that allowed, as the area developed, so in essence, that's what they're looking to do out there. That's why they created the TIF, so that any growth there doesn't come out of the existing people's pockets. It's only the new people. So if you come to play, you're going to pay. So I don't explain it.
Okay.
Anybody got any more questions? I know it's a lot of information. I hope I didn't muddy the waters too much.
It's what we needed to know. And besides that, there's gonna be a lot of people, they're asking me right now as far as the
Reorganization.
yeah, they're asking me questions about it. I gotta have some answers. And
The nice thing about the consolidation is if you guys all vote yes and the town board says yes, the only thing that means is you're going to put it on the ballot and let the people decide.
right,
If you all vote no, then you don't even give the people a chance to vote. So that's good in that you're letting the people decide. The territory is a little different. You guys have to decide that. Unfortunately, that's the only options I have besides letting the county commissioners decide it.
and it was my understanding that you have to have a decision today, yes or no.
Well, the first we went ahead and scheduled the meetings, so I don't need a vote. I don't need a vote from you guys today to say yes. I assume you'll want to. You're more than welcome to, but I'm assuming you'll want to. You guys will have to come to the meeting, the 3 meetings, and then there'll be an adoption meeting, and that's where they'll have to know what you guys' vote is. Does that make sense? If you guys right now want to take a vote and 2 of you say no, then I'm done with all of it. It's dead in the water. It won't happen. Does that make sense?
I don't see any point in having the meetings with everybody if we don't have a yes. I mean, that's just
No, I agree.
That's a waste. So we need, in my opinion, we need to have a yes or a no from us before February 18th, I think it is. And it would be nice for Kevin and everybody else to know ahead of time. You know, Baker Tilly needs to know that they're not coming here for this anymore. But I personally, I don't see how we can say no to this because we have a local say this way, and you know, the trustee and or whoever he wants to put in there, and the town council and somebody else that's local is going to have a say in what happens with our fire department. Whereas if we say no and the commissioners take it, yes, our taxes are going to go up with this, but our taxes are going to go up more if the district. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, they're gonna hike it when they take Polk and Salt Creek, and they're gonna hike it when they take Richland. I mean, it's gonna get ugly.
I agree. To me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you need to say yes. If they didn't like it 3 or 4 years, say you could always get out of it. But when we're talking the money and what the fire district do, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, $1 million budget for Steinsville.
Yeah.
140 runs.
And I just, everybody says large is better. Well, I always think small is better. You know, I like a close knit group, and I think it's totally ridiculous that the 3 county commissioners can sit up there and outvote the whole county as far as that goes. That's too much power.
Two people can drastically change the course of the county.
And if I understand right, there were 80% of the people from Bean Blossom that said they did not want the fire district. But they did it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they just, we wouldn't have any say in anything. Even our one person, they get to appoint that person to the board, right?
Mhm.
So it's just gonna be separated there, right?
So they've already said that they want.
The
Oh, yeah.
meeting that Jay was at on the
Meeting I went
22nd.
to, they flat out said they intended to add us with
Full
the other
consult.
two, Old Salt Creek.
That's their intention. So then they'd have the whole county, other than the town of Bellisville and Bloomington.
Full control.
And all of them.
And they're not gonna be happy if they don't get, oh, I mean, they'll take everything else.
Right,
That don't mean they're gonna be happy.
right.
Yeah.
There'd be grumbling about it, but that's just be that way. Do you have any more comments about it, Jay?
Well, I mean, it's probably the thing to do. Was the other meetings to have any public input if there is
Yes.
what?
Yes, the
Yeah,
first
I
three
mean,
are.
that's kind of why I would hesitate on a vote today, is to get the opportunity for the public to show up, which,
I'm
The
not
history of
an
the-
attorney, so I would
yeah,
assume if you had an absolute
Yeah,
feeling
we would
that
have
you were
to.
disagree with it, that you could call for another vote.
I mean, we can put it in the resolution that as of today, we agree with this, that we want to do this.
We can agree to move forward with this would be
Right,
probably the terminology.
Right.
I mean,
right,
I'm being a lawyer here for a moment, and I'm definitely not a lawyer, but
Sure.
yeah.
But
General consensus is to
That's-
move forward with it.
yeah.
Right.
yeah, so.
Yeah,
mean,
no, I understand that, and I just, but yeah, like I said, if two of you's not in favor of moving forward, then we're just done with this, and we'll see what the consolidation does. But the way I understood it, the county's looking at moving in April,
Yeah,
district,
that's what their plan is, so we can,
and I don't know why they would back off of that.
well, they won't, but I have no problem with that. I mean, I just like the idea that, if we say we're having this many meetings and the public can show up and
There's
share their thoughts, then
Oh, yeah, that's,
There's
yeah,
three
Yeah,
public
these three.
meetings, yes,
to receive taxpayer input.
and there has to be a
And the
quorum
vote on
from
March
each entity there.
25th.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So the town board has to have 3 members there, and you guys would have to have 2. If for some reason they got 2, and you guys only have 1, the whole thing's done. It's just,
So, and I asked at the meeting last week with the reorganization committee that if we have any meetings that are on any of these days, because they're Wednesdays, that we would just still be able to have it at town hall. We would put a hard stop on that meeting at 6:50 and have these meetings at 7:00, so that the attorneys, they need to be at both meetings. So that was agreed. So that way I can also be there just in
I
case, one of you gets sick or something.
I do have it's a 17-page presentation, because they asked me to put something together. Why are we here? Why are we doing this? What's it going to give us? What's it going to change? So I've done that. I just didn't quite have it finished up, but as soon as I get it finished, I'm happy to. I think it's small enough I can email it to you. I can email it to you guys, and you can look it over, or I'm happy to catch one at a time. But it'll be what's presented at the territory meeting, and then after I'm done with that, if there's any questions, I'll answer them best I can. And then Baker Tilly will give theirs, as far as this document here, go through it and make sure people understand it. But this is this budget right here. I've not changed anything.
I think it would be good to just email it. If we have any questions.
I'm not sure how big it is.
Oh,
If I can't
yeah.
email it,
Yeah,
do
that would be.
you want me to just print copies and bring it here? That work for you? And then I can let you guys know. But I just, like I say, it's only 17 pages, so I don't think there'll be any problem. I know that Sheridan thing was like 100 and some pages, and it wouldn't even help.
Right, yeah.
But this shouldn't be a problem.
How is the public going to find out we have these 3 meetings?
Baker Tilly is putting the legal ads together, and then kind of the same way that Consolidation did, and then they're gonna send it to Noel. Noel's put it in the newspaper, and then of course it'll be on, we'll make sure it's on the fire department page, and you guys can reshare it however you want. I'm not sure what the thing is anymore, because most people don't get a newspaper or don't read a newspaper anymore.
No, and then there's some people who aren't on Facebook either, so they're
Mhm.
clueless. And those reorganization postcards were mailed out over a week ago.
I'm not
Has
seeing it.
anybody got one? Because I haven't
No.
gotten one. So you wouldn't.
Of course,
I
didn't
wouldn't
get
either.
mail yesterday.
Right,
Probably won't get mail today.
right.
You know,
so
I have
It could be
I have-
on the way. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
I have
week
informed
seems like a
delivery
long
and
time.
I have informed delivery and it hasn't shown up on my pictures on my email yet. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean it can either. Sometimes stuff shows up.
I got
But
something
that's interesting what
UPS,
she said.
USPS, and I tracked it, and it went from Louisville to Bloomington, to Indianapolis, back to Bloomington, and to my house.
Mhm.
I'm going, that makes no sense.
Oh, when they put in the new distribution center in Indianapolis, I had a package that went back and forth from Indianapolis to Pennsylvania for almost 2 weeks.
Did you intercept it?
And I'm like, I told the company, I'm like, I know this isn't your fault, but I need my package.
Yeah.
You was
It
talking about,
finally showed up.
you talking about communication. I do still take the newspaper, but I'm not on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, so do you get the physical copy or do you get the,
no, I get this.
so you get that in the mail, right?
Yeah.
So you get it a
Of course,
day
I
or
didn't
so
get it.
later.
I didn't get it yesterday.
Right.
And then again, it's in the legal ad, so I don't know
How
how.
many people actually read a legal ad?
I used to when we got the paper, but it's been a while back, so I don't read
I
it anymore.
kind of miss the journal myself.
I miss the journal.
Yeah,
I miss the journal.
The paper's lousy. It's not really worth what I'm having to pay, but I'm not one to want to sit in front of my computer and try to read it.
yeah.
And I miss the old days when it was delivered by paper carrier in the morning. I could eat breakfast and read the paper.
Mm-hmm. I
I
understand.
mean, a lot of the news is 2 days late.
Yeah.
You could win a basketball game today, but if I didn't have any other information, I'd probably read about it Thursdays or Fridays. Who won?
Yeah.
Maybe we need to make some bets with David on basketball games. I'm sure.
But I do, it's terrible, but I do read obituaries, but some of those are long overdue.
Yes.
That's how I read about it.
Well, a lot of people don't put them in there anymore because
Costs
they
money.
charge you so much.
Costs money.
I know.
Unless you went to IU. If you're at IU, then you get a half-page story.
Isn't that the truth? Gee.
Okay, so I don't think we need to actually
No, we
make any
just,
kind of a
no,
motion.
we're not making a motion or anything, we're just agreeing that we need to proceed
Yeah.
with this, so it's
Yeah.
not an official vote on anything.
Yeah, it's not that we're totally against it.
No,
We just need to,
want to hear from the public, and I totally get that.
and
And like I said, I know nobody wants to pay more, and I don't know how else to do it.
Well, it gets annoying to me that they constantly, use like 4% or whatever. I've never had a 4% raise. This year I have a 0% raise. And just, they automatically just, 4%. Well, that's no 4%. That's no, at best I'll get a 2%.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And
One
that's
time
it.
I got a 0.25% raise as a nurse. That was
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like,
none of us got a raise this year.
I get a little sensitive at times.
It's just the way it works.
my husband only gets a raise if the legislature says he
Mhm.
gets a raise, and so that's few and far between.
Yeah.
This is a tough time right now to get a raise, really.
Yeah.
I mean, states want to cut back on a lot of things. Yeah,
Well, cut back on property tax and increase the lit. I mean, but yeah, it's but if you guys come up with a question or whatever, shoot me an email, call me. I'm happy to go through the budget line by line, because I want you guys to feel good about whatever decision you make. So.
okay. Well, let the record show that Carmen Artiga was here attending this meeting. Sorry I missed her at the beginning
Okay.
of it. So, is there any other discussion? Anything else for anybody? What's that? Well, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, and Jay seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 4:08.